Okay, so let's get back into our coverage over Identity Crisis. But of course, we have to jump back over to some more tie-ins. Now, today tie-ins is going to be from the Manhunter series. And really, I want to cover the story arc that takes place before the actual story arc that does tie into Identity Crisis. Because Manhunter was a new character around this time in DC Comics. And I still kind of feel like most DC fans do not really truly remember her. And I kind of want to have her first story arc out there just in case anybody wants to know more about this character. Because this Manhunter is no way related to the other Manhunters we had in the 80s and the 90s. This was DC taking that name and giving it to a new character and doing something different with that character. A female character who's really riding the borderline between evil and good, being that anti-hero. And so with all that information being said, I kind of want to dive into her first story arc, her origin story. In the next video for her, we should begin to dive into the actual tie-ins for her when it comes to Identity Crisis. And so we dive into Manhunter issue number 1. And really, the opening pages of this book, we actually pick up in downtown Los Angeles, 3 a.m. in the morning, where we pick up with a gruesome scene. You have police arriving and find a police vehicle that was actually transporting a metahuman to a secure facility. But the problem is that metahuman broke free. And also, that metahuman had killed off the 2 guards who were transporting that prisoner over to that secure facility. Now, you have police officers trying their best to find the dead bodies of the 2 guards who were on transport duty because they found the vehicle. There's blood everywhere, there's guts everywhere, but the problem is they don't have any bodies yet. Now we have to jump back 16 hours prior from that moment to kind of learn what led up to that moment where we had a gruesome scene of people being killed off while trying to transport a prisoner over to a secure facility. So we jump over to a courthouse and we pick up with a character known as Copperhead, who is currently on trial for the crimes that he had committed. Now for Copperhead, he had killed off 12 people, but also severely injured other people who were able to survive his attack. But some of those people had lost different body parts because of him. Now for Copperhead, he is a classic DC character, but post-crisis, there was a small event in the 1990s where you had different characters kind of sell their souls for some upgrades to their powers. And so for Copperhead, he began to evolve into an actual snake-like creature. And the problem is his mind also evolved as well. So he was no longer thinking like a regular human, but more like a wild animal. And so that's kind of the reason why he attacked all those people in his last crime that he had committed. Now, we do pick up with Kate Spencer, and Kate Spencer is going to be the Manhunter of the book. Really, by the end of this chapter, she'll become Manhunter. Now, for Kate, we do learn that she is a district attorney, or she works for the district attorney, but her main goal is to make sure that Copperhead goes to jail. Scratch that. Her main goal is to make sure that this man is sentenced to death. And the reason why, because she truly believes that Copperhead cannot be changed. It's not like he'll go away for a while and maybe, just maybe, he'll become a better person and can go back out in the public. No, for her, supervillains, especially ones like Copperhead, deserve to be killed off because this man killed off 12 people, but seriously injured other people as well. He deserves to die. Now, when it comes to Copperhead's lawyer, he does a great job in protecting Copperhead. He says, look, my boy Copperhead here did not ask to be changed when it comes to genetics. Like, he did not ask for that to become a wild animal, both body and mind. Now, in reality, he kind of did ask for it. But either way, it's Copperhead lawyer saying, why don't we use him instead trying to kill him off. Because what if there's other people out there who were wrongfully changed when it comes to their genetics? What if we can use Copperhead to find a way to turn him back to normal, but also other people like him as well? And so once you have both Kate and Copperhead lawyer say their sides of what they should do when it comes to Copperhead, you have the jury go in the back to start talking to one another about him being guilty or possibly innocent. And really, it does not take the jury that long because they come right back out. And when they do, unfortunately for Kate, they say Copperhead is innocent. And so you didn't have Copperhead now be transported over to a secure facility so that they can begin to work on him to hopefully find a way to turn him back to normal, but also other people as well who are just like him. Now, for Kate, she hates the idea that this man was able to walk away freely after killing off 12 people, but also severely injuring other people who were at the scene of the crime. To her, it's not fair, but apparently it is fair because this man is able to walk away freely. And really, that leads us back over to the very beginning of the book because you now have those two guards once again trying to transport Copperhead over to a secure facility, but apparently his restraints were unlocked. And so he was able to break free very easily and begin to kill off both of the guards like we saw at the very beginning of this book. Now, we do learn very quickly that for Kate, she does have an ex-husband. She does have a son. And apparently, the relationship with her ex-husband is the worst. Like, homegirl is having the hardest time talking to that man. But at the same time, it's kind of like she's not really trying to be a better person when it comes to her child. Now, while on the phone with her husband, that is when you do have her hear what happened with Copperhead, that he was able to break free. And for her, that's her biggest problem. Copperhead should have been killed off. And once again, he was able to break free and he's out there being able to cause havoc across Los Angeles. And so now we jump over to downtown with at 3:10 a.m. And this takes place after the very first section of this chapter where you do have the LAPD being able to find the bodies of the two guards who were killed off earlier trying to transport Copperhead to that facility. But then you have the man in charge of the squad get a call from somebody saying, hey, you might want to come down here to the sewers and see what we had found. But getting back over to Kate, we do see her breaking into what seems to be a secure room that holds all the different equipment that villains had used over the years. And so once she goes inside there, she begins to pick up different tools that she can possibly use out in the field. And so this truly does begin her origin story, her becoming the Manhunter. And the rest of the first chapter is really more of Kate going out of her way now being Manhunter. She now has the equipment she needs to go after Copperhead. And so once she was able to find out where Copperhead was at, they do battle across the city. And their battle kind of ends up in the sewers. Now, when they do get in the sewers, it really shows that Kate was not properly prepared for a metahuman. Like, yes, cool, you want to be a hero. That's great. But you have no training. You are not ready to go up against a metahuman. And really for her, she got lucky that she was in the sewers because of the water. She was able to use her stick to shock Copperhead to basically defeat him. But after doing that, she makes sure that he will not get back up again by killing him off. And so by the end of the first chapter, you have the police officers who had just found the dead bodies of the two guards earlier who were trying to transport Copperhead over to that secure facility. But after that, they got a call saying, you want to come down to sewers, because that whole entire battle between Copperhead and also Manhunter took place before the police had arrived. And so when they had arrived, they found the truck, they found the blood, they found the dead bodies. They got word to go into the sewers. And when they do, they find the dead body of Copperhead with a message left behind saying Manhunter to tell the city, like, hey, you have a new hero, and that new hero is Manhunter. And so, as we dive into the second chapter of this book, we do pick up with, well, the different villains of Batman being led by the Joker. And really, we see that Batman's being held hostage by his rogue gallery. Now, while being held hostage, you then have Manhunter appear. Now, when she appears, she breaks into the room and she kills off every single member of Batman's rogue gallery, including the Joker. After doing that, she frees Batman, and she thinks that Batman is going to be okay with the idea of her killing them off as a way to save him. But instead, you have Batman being very angry with her, like, who in the world do you think you are? That you think you have the right to take the life of somebody else, even though those people were going to kill me or kill other people. We don't cross that line with us being heroes. And you're kind of like, wait a second, is she really being confronted by Batman? No. Because we do learn that technically she is having a dream. Now, once she does wake up from that dream, it's really more Kate trying to recover after being out there fighting against Copperhead and almost being killed off by him. Now, she does get a call from somebody from her office who does inform her about what's happening outside the federal building, because word has gotten out that Copperhead has been killed off, and apparently killed off by a new hero, quotation marks, better known as Manhunter. And reporters want answers right now. And so it's the district attorney saying, can you come in? Because we need you right at this moment to kind of help deal with this situation. And so she does change and begin to head over to the office. But now we do jump over to a character known as Shadow Thief. Now, Shadow Thief has been around for a good while in DC Comics. He first appeared back in Hawk World Volume 2, issue number 5, back in 1990. Now, Carl Sands, aka Shadow Thief, will play a somewhat important role when it comes to identity crisis. So this gives us another reason why we should cover the first story arc of Manhunter. Now, for Shadow Thief, he was a close friend to Copperhead, and he just got word that Copperhead had just been killed off by somebody known as, well, Manhunter. And so for Shadow Thief, he wants to find Manhunter and kill her off for, well, killing his friend. Now, for Shadow Thief, I should also mention that by this point in his DC Comics appearance, he has gone a tad bit not okay in the head, mentally ill. Now, we're not technically told why just yet, but we will later on as we continue our coverage over Identity Crisis. But you can kind of see here in the opening pages of this chapter of this series, because he begins to talk to himself, or he believes that he is talking to somebody that nobody can actually see. Oh, by the way, when it comes to Shadow Thief, he has the ability to kind of turn himself into a shadow, but also other people and other objects as well, as a way to kind of move around by using the darkness around him. Makes him for a very interesting kind of character. But getting back over to Kate, we do kind of get a better idea of her family situation, because like I said earlier, by this point she was divorced from her ex-husband, better known as Peter Robinson. Now we do see Peter bring over their son Ramsey, because we do learn that it's supposed to be case weekend, but she has forgotten. Now with Peter, we learn that she constantly forgets when it's her time to watch Ramsey, to be a mom. Now, for Kate, it's kind of like bad timing at this point, because one, she just became Manhunter, and two, she has a lot of things going on with the DA, but at the same time, she still has to be a mother. And we kind of see the two characters argue, because for Peter, he feels like Kate is not trying hard enough to be a mother, but at the same time, she wants to understand what she's going through when it comes to her workload. And so they do continue to argue, but she does stop it because, well, Ramsey's nearby and they want to make sure that their son does not hear his parents argue once again. Now, we do get a couple of pages where we are technically able to see what it's like for Kate to be a mother. And really, for Kate, she's not really trying to spend that much time with her son, like going out for different activities. It's really more of, let's stay home, let's eat food here, let's watch movies here. Let's just stay here and chill. It's kind of like she does not want to go out with him and give him activities that he may like to do outside of the home. But after a while, she does agree to at least take him to a restaurant where he's able to order food there. Then you have somewhat of a normal night as mother and son doing something different rather than being home all day bored. Now we do pick up with Shadow Thief, and we see Shadow Thief stop by the coroner's office to look at the dead body of Copperhead. Now, for Shadow Thief, he really can't believe that his friend is dead, but now seeing the dead body, it does confirm for him that yes, your friend is dead. He was killed off by this Manhunter. And so for Shadow Thief, he wants to find Manhunter and get revenge for what she had done to his friend. Now, getting back over to Kate, we still see Kate and her son at that diner. Now, after you have her son walk away, one of the busboys at the diner comes over to her table. Now, for Kate, the busboy looks very familiar. And when she goes to ask him his name, he freaks out, says no, but he also spills ice cream on her shirt. Now, because of that, for her, enough is enough. They have been out too long. It's now time to go home. Now for Ramsey, her son, it's kind of like, it's just ice cream. Can we please go somewhere else? But for her, it's a huge no. And they go straight home. And she tells them, just find a DVD for us to watch and we are going to chill for the night. Now, the ending of this chapter, you have Ramsey walk around the apartment of Kate. And when he does, he finds her weapon, the stick she used to beat down on Copperhead. And the problem is that, well, he turns it on and there is a huge flash. And with that huge flash, you have Kate see it happen in slow motion. She sees her son holding the stick. She sees her son turn it on. And when she tries to go over to him to at least stop him, bam, there is a huge flash. And now we're left to wonder what happened to her son. And so then we jump into the final chapter for today's video, where we do pick up with Manhunter on the top of the rooftop, just being very upset with herself because she left out her superhero gear. And with her doing that, her son got seriously injured. Now, yes, he should not touch the item that was left out. But at the same time, though, how would he have known it was something like that in the first place? And also, as a parent, you should make sure that your stuff is put away. Either way, while on top of the rooftop being very upset with herself, she's then confronted by Shadow Thief. Now remember, in our first chapter, when she fought against Copperhead, she really got lucky in that battle because there was a body of water. And of course, her stick was able to use that body of water to, well, electrocute Copperhead, to kill him off, and then really beat him down until he actually died. But either way, for Manhunter now, she has to fight Shadow Thief on the top of a rooftop where she does not have anything that can actually help her to win this battle. It really does seem like she is about to get one heck of a beatdown. And really, for Shadow Thief, he's not impressed in what he is seeing because he was able to sneak up on her and begin to beat down on her. And he's kind of like, you're the one that had killed off Copperhead? I can't believe that at all. But now we jump back 8 hours earlier. We do see that Kate was able to get her son over to the hospital. Now, she has to lie to the doctors about what exactly happened to her son because if she tells them anything like, okay, so I have this equipment at my home that allows me to be a hero, she's going to get arrested for one, because she killed somebody, and two, because also she stole that equipment from the evidence room. And so for Kate, she's telling a whole completely different story to kind of cover up her tracks. But at the same time, she also knows that she has to call her husband. And really, her husband is already mad at her for being kind of like not a bad mother, but not the mother he wants his wife to be or ex-wife to be towards their son. And so now to hear that his son is now in the hospital, he's going to push for full custody. But she has no choice. She has to go ahead and call him up. Now, while she's doing that, one of the nurses at the hospital, she recognizes Kate. And she's kind of like, I think I have a big time scoop here for a big time story down the road. And so she calls somebody. So getting back over to the present moment, we do pick up with Shadow Thief and Manhunter still fighting against each other. Now, for their battle, it really shows that Manhunter is not really ready to be a hero just yet. And the reason why I'm saying this because, again, she did not have that proper training. But also, Shadow Thief is a completely different character. With Copperhead, she was able to hit very easily. But for Shadow Thief, he's able to blend in with the shadows on the building as a way to dodge all her attacks that she tries to throw at him. And even when it seems like she may have him cornered, this man has been around for so long that he knows how to adapt to most situations in the battle. And so for Shadow Thief, he's able to get the upper hand on her to the point where she's now hanging off the edge of the building for her life. But when we jump back over to the past, we continue to see Kate being very upset that her son's in the hospital. Now, when her husband arrived, Peter, ex-husband, sorry, Peter, when he arrives, he expresses how mad he is at her. He expresses how he wants to get full custody of their child because this is horrible. Now, again, she has to lie to him as well. She can't tell him the actual truth of how their son got hurt. But here's the big problem, though. When the doctor comes, he says, like, hey, your son is seriously injured. Like, it's going to be a while until he is able to be properly healed. And so you now have both parents just being very upset about the idea of their son being in the hospital. But for Peter, it's kind of like, nah, Kate, you have gone too far this time. You have truly messed up. Now, Kate walks away. And when she does, that same nurse, she did call somebody. And that somebody saw the fight between her and Peter. And so most likely, that guy could be a reporter. Now, with that being said, when she goes to a newspaper rack, she sees that most of the city of Los Angeles does approve her being around, Manhunter. And so she's kind of like, at least someone out there actually cares for me. Now, the ending of this book does kind of wrap up very quickly as we jump back over to the present moment where the battle continues on between Shadow Thief and also Manhunter. Now, as their battle continues on, you have Manhunter being able to actually grab the arm of Shadow Thief. And this is really important because for Shadow Thief, he moves around in the shadows. But once you were able to hit him with some kind of light to get rid of the shadows, it kind of ruins the chance for him to move around so freely. But also, if his body is in shadow form, well, then his body can easily be broken apart thanks to light. And so for Shadow Thief, his arm is completely taken off by Manhunter. Now, she does fall to what seems to be her death, but it's not. She does fall on top of a sign. Now, with her doing that, it does seem like she is dead. And for Shadow Thief, it's kind of like, listen, she may be dead, she may not be dead, but I do know one thing, I gotta get the heck out of here. So once he's able to put his arm back in place, he does disappear. And after he does disappear, we learn that Manhunter is okay. She gets right back up, but she realized that one, her equipment is completely ruined, and two, she needs some help here. Now, the ending of this book kind of hints at the idea that she knows that what she's doing is right, the idea of being a hero, but she also knows that she has to, well, get rid of a few things like family and friends to kind of be able to do the right thing, to be a hero. And so we're kind of left to believe that she might not see her son and her ex-husband anymore. She might try her best to just focus on being a hero, but also now she needs some help, she is saying. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.